Now I will request Andy to share his experience and his learnings on Oracle EBS and CloudIO. Andy, over to you.
Thanks, Rupi, and also thanks to you for inviting me. Very happy to be here. I'm a very happy customer, and happy to be joining and sharing my experience. A little bit about Komori and our EBS and CloudIO journey. Some background: we've been an EBS customer since 2007. We upgraded, we self-upgraded, did our own internal upgrade to 12.1.3 in 2011. And in 2020, we actually, late 2019, early 2020, we dropped Oracle support. And so we basically frozen our code at 12.1.3. We were, at the time prior to that, when we were looking at upgrading, our Oracle was pushing hard to get everyone onto 12.2 and simultaneously pushing to get you to migrate to the cloud, either lift and shift of EBS or taking advantage or signing up for their cloud version of ERP or cloud version of EBS. None of those really applied or had good value propositions for us. There weren't a lot of functional changes in 12.2 that would help us or that would solve issues that we were facing. It's expensive, it's disruptive. And then for other reasons, we just decided we were going to stick where we were. We use pretty much every module in EBS. We have approximately, depending on whatever season, approximately 100 users. And we have no developers on staff. I use partners for all kinds of development. So why we chose CloudIO? First, at the time in 2016, 15, 16, I started casting around looking for a replacement for our Discoverer reporting tool because it was going end of life. And we had something like 140 reports in there used by all departments. And the OBIEE, the Oracle's Oracle Business Intelligent Enterprise Edition platform, was expensive. It was, the migration path did not seem easy, and it was expensive. And I thought difficult to manage and maintain. So I started looking around, and I came across, I think I met these guys at a show, and it might have been Open World. Had started our conversations, and I was super interested in the Reporting Work Center application that they offer. And during those conversations about Reporting Work Center and how it would work for Komori, we were introduced to the unified platform concept that CloudIO has. Reporting Work Center is one piece of that, right? It runs on the unified platform, and everything that Naren showed you runs on that same platform. So it was very fortuitous for us, because at the same time that I was looking for a reporting tool replacement, we were casting around looking for a better or a solution to a problem we were having using Oracle's field service. We use it for dispatch, and we use it for debrief for the technicians in the field, which is about half the company. So we would send them tickets, and they would say what they did, and they would do their hours. And we did do some customization back in 2007 when we rolled this out, but making changes to it was very difficult. User adoption was difficult. We were just looking for something better. And it turned out, with using the unified platform, CloudIO proposed, well, we could make you, and we also wanted to mobilize it, right? We wanted to make it device agnostic, make it so that, any screen, any user, any screen. And when I looked at, due diligence, I have to look at everything. So I looked at what Oracle was offering, and around the 12.1, they were starting to mobilize some of these things, but the infrastructure, the licensing, the requirements were the bar was so high. We were deciding not to do that until I met the CloudIO folks. And so where we ended up with them was that we did actually simultaneously. We rolled out Reporting Work Center first. So this diagram is we're the on-prem EBS system. Our CloudIO is running on a couple of Linux VMs inside our hyper-converged cluster. So we have a dev Linux box and we have a production one. So we deployed the reporting work center, the platform, the unified platform. We rolled out the reporting work center, migrated the Discoverer reports over and started getting users to use those instead. And that was really successful. And at the same time, in a parallel development process, CloudIO developed what we call the paperless system. It's the mobile service application. And that went out in, I think, late 2017. The development cycle was really fast. I was under a lot of pressure to get this thing out. And now I can say, I mean, it is our standard, right? It is how technicians, and we have anywhere between 30 and 45 technicians, that's how they receive their tickets. They can get them on their phones if they want. That's how they enter in the work that they've done, the hours they've spent. They can do signature capture on it because they can use an iPad or their cell phone to capture the signature with a touch. I mean, even something as simple as that. I mean, in modern age and everybody, you go to the store and you can signature capture. Believe me, trying to shoehorn that into eBusiness Suite was difficult. The technologies and the enabling underlying things you needed to do to get just that into eBusiness Suite, the seeded one, was quite difficult, and it was nothing to the unified platform. It was, I mean, I said I need it. They said, fine, we got it. It's already there. So the problems it solved for us is, is just that whole dispatch and debrief, signature and time capture. But the nice thing is because it's connected to EBS directly, we didn't have to change how the service coordinators do the dispatch. They still enter the tickets and the service requests and all that the normal EBS way, and the unified platform actually pulls that data and then sends it out to the technicians through the unified platform. And so the UI is through the unified platform. We're not handcuffed by what Oracle lets you see or not see, or what HTML pages you can see or not see, what actions you can do or not do. It's all inside the unified platform. That's just data, and then they push the data back into eBusiness Suite standard tables. Trying to do this with one of the I modules, it was a non-starter for Komori. This was the solution for us. And so, one of the reasons, I was talking, one of the bullet items here was talking about the value proposition. And if you're considering, what do I do with my 12.1? Do I upgrade to 12.2? Do I go to the cloud? Do I lift and shift? Do I just stay where I'm at? My answer, or at least the Komori answer to that, is we're going to use the unified platform to keep, well, first of all, it stays local, so I don't have to push it up into the cloud and lose all kinds of control over my database and my data. It'll be local, but this will sort of modernize or keep the 12.1.3 that we have responsive to both the users and the customers. Keep it modern. I can get features and things that may or may not be released in a future EBS release. I can get that through the UI and through the unified platform development tool. So that's very exciting for us. Another value proposition that attracted to me this and why I've been impressed with them is they are leveraging, like you saw in the demonstration, applications that they've built for other customers. So when they came to work on ours, it didn't start from the ground up where I had to pay for all the initial development and design. It's modular. And look, I'm not a developer, so I don't want to get into how they actually do this because I don't really know. But the fact is, the pieces and components were easy enough for them to assemble and then modify or customize for our needs, right? And so that was a super time, effort, and cost savings for us. So a really good value proposition for Komori. One of the things that's impressed me with working with them is I've worked with a lot of partners because we don't have development on staff. So over the 17 years we've been in, 15 years of EBS, And I did, even daily, I still get emails from partners saying, hey, we want to work with you. And a lot of times, if a partner says they work with Oracle, when you say, oh, we're an e-business suite customer, there's a pause on the phone or a dead silence. And then the salesman will say, oh yeah, absolutely, we can work with that. But if you're an EBS user or responsible for it, or developing for it, you know that EBS is it's its own thing. It's not just an Oracle database. It's that whole suite of applications and the connections and the way that it works. And it's very specific. The knowledge needed to develop for it is very specific. The underlying structures and how things work. And it's critical that a partner really is an EBS knowledgeable partner, not just an Oracle database partner. And I was super impressed with CloudIO's EBS knowledge. You know, it's happened to me in the past where I ended up sort of training the partner on a particular module that we were trying to make some development for. I'd say, well, it's in this table, or go to here, or this is where this is, just based on my experience in using it and working with, other developers. And, that I never had that situation with CloudIO. It was, they knew what they had to do. I said, this is what we need. They said, all right, here's what we have to do. Here's what we're going to do. The fact that it's local, we put it in, they made it so that I can actually administer it myself. Again, no coding. If I need it, they're there. The help desk is really responsive. And that's another sort of plus that I've had or experience with working with them is, again, I've worked with a lot of partners, and I was super impressed how easy it's been to work with them, even from the start. So CloudIO has been very responsive to our needs. They're really flexible in our time scale, in the pricing of our engagement. And so really very much a pleasure to work with. And then when I got on, as I said, when I got onto the developer side, I was super impressed with their responsiveness, but also their knowledge of their own platform, which, that sounds stupid, but believe me, I've worked with people and with partners that they're offering something, and the guy I'm working with doesn't even really know his own product. Never had that issue with CloudIO, and how it connects and how it works with EBS has just been fantastic. So as I mentioned, the future for us in CloudIO is, as Narayan showed, that actually sort of what excited me originally about it, is combining or modifying or creating a new UI for the seeded forms. Number one, it does help us with this Java, the end of life of Java. We're actually still Java 1.6. We're locked into Firefox 50. This would actually sort of remove those handcuffs a little bit, take the pressure off having to upgrade to Java 8. But also for us, one of the issues we have is we have sort of a disconnect between the parts department and service. And, in some cases, we'll send a guy out to fix a press, $1,000 airfare or whatever, and the part's not there because parts forgot to tell them it went on back order. So we see this sort of customized UI where there are elements of both parts and service in the same screen is going to be, so if I start to make an order, it would show, for example, oh, there's an open service request on it, and they could put a note on it, which would notify service, hey, don't send this guy, part's not there. Same thing for service. They open up a ticket. Oh, I see a parts order. I see that part is on back order. That's just going to help communication and the flow, and it'll help the customer. The other thing is Japan, our parent company in Japan, has deployed a global Salesforce instance. We had our own Oracle Sales Cloud instance for CRM. We've now dropped that, and we're now part of Japan, or the Komori Corporation's global CRM system. So I'm looking forward to integrating some of our EBS data, our on-prem EBS data, with Salesforce. So when I was looking at this, I'm obviously looking at things like the Oracle ICS, the integration service they offer, MuleSoft. There are other, sort of third-party things that are out there that will take your data from EBS and connect it to a web service or a cloud service. The problem for us for Komori is we don't have the SOA gateway. That's the enabling technology that lets EBS talk to a web service or to a cloud-based service. we never saw the need for it. We never stood it up. And when I look at it, it's expensive to do that. Plus, I have to get another server and pay Oracle for the license for that server to make that really right. With CloudIO, because the unified platform, it's on-prem, and they have the skill, they would be my integration point, right? So they're already talking to EBS. For them, it's just a matter of saying, well, give us a connection to your Salesforce, with the suitable credentials, and we can make that connection. We'll be that piece in between, that communication piece in between. So that's going to be super exciting. And again, I mean, from a cost perspective, I'm not looking at another service. I'm not looking at paying Oracle for any more product. And I don't think I have to really do anything to Salesforce, right? So that's a huge plus for us, and I'm excited to be to move forward with these projects with CloudIO.